Wrestling will help you elevate your grappling, and together we keep real wrestling alive. Thank you very much. We're joined here with my co-host, the co-pilot, Rufus, right behind me, my cat. Um, all right, so hopefully he doesn't just like jump onto the computer or whatever, but I guess he's pretty active right now. But anyway, just want to let's go over the announcements and stuff. We're coming up on the end of the spring quarter at UCLA. So our catch wrestling class will be coming to an end for like a month, and then we'll have like a summer session most likely. Um, but all it's most likely what will be happening. I'll announce it when it's all like when the summer schedule is solidified and all that. But in the meantime, we'll always be having our classes at Fight Science MMA in Los Angeles in the Mid City area. So that that's definitely going to be going on, or it's ongoing basically year round. So you don't have to worry about like school schedules and whatnot. So feel free to come by anytime you like, or at least any class time you like, and you don't have to join the gym or whatever. You can just come in. You can drop in. It's pretty relaxed, and everyone's really nice, and you get good training and all that. Other things, I think that's kind of like the main things, right? And then say like if you're not in the area, if you're on the East Coast, go ahead and train with my good buddy John Strickland, and then he's in South Carolina. And if you're in neither of those areas, feel free to join in our CWA Academy on our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. Also, speaking of that, if you happen to have some kind of knowledge that you'd like to teach other people online, you can use our kind of like sponsored down here, Kajabi. That's a website where you can have all the like all your courses and all that stuff, like all the community stuff, a lot of stuff all in one. And so we have like a 30-day free trial link in the description. Actually, right now since it's live, it's not up there yet. I'll try to put it on. I'll put it in the description right away. Maybe I can even do it while we're kind of talking, but that will be in the description right away. All right. Okay. So got all the announcements out of the way that I can think of, but then now let's go ahead and talk about like what's been announced. It's something really cool. So basically, I want to kind of talk about Craig Jones, just his announcements, but also stuff in general that's been coming out from him. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about the big news first, right? He announced his own event that will be taking place the same time as the ADCC finals and in Las Vegas later on this year. And there's some cool things that actually I've talked about, not necessarily about him, but just like sports in general. So one of the main things is that, yeah, say like he wants better pay for grapplers, right? So I think grappling has become popular enough where like people who do have money should be paying more, right? So with what Craig Jones has been talking about is like, so people who win ADCC, maybe like the prize will be like $10,000, but according to Craig Jones, it's like, yeah, you have to beat like the best in the world. So you have to put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of training into being able to do that. And the compensation of $10,000 just is not enough for all the work you have to put in, all the time, effort, and all that. Totally understandable. You kind of think of it as like, say, like one of my old friends was who had been trying to break into the entertainment industry here in Los Angeles, and then he'd been trying for many years, struggling, basically being broke, and then all of a sudden he got cast in a TV show, and a lot of people complain about like a lot of these actors getting paid too much, but he was saying it's like it's the compensation for all the years that I was broke. Right? So it's kind of making up for that time and effort you put in. Uh, so that there's kind of a parallel with that and the grappling, because people are training like hours a day, and like say if you are able to put in all that time and effort, the compensation should kind of match, right? So since you'll see like a lot of other pro sports, like basketball and baseball, football, like all the like soccer and all that, all the bigs of sports. I think you probably even throw like rugby and cricket in there. I'm sure these people are getting um, like compensated much better than a lot of grapplers who I think are more interesting to watch, right? It's like because that's what I do. It's like something I'm way more interested in grappling than cricket and all that, and even basketball. And so I think basketball is pretty boring and all that, um, but you have like these major leagues of sports that are very popular around the world, and players are getting much more money than grapplers, right? So that's something or that pay equity thing is something that Craig Jones is trying to, at least with one event, like pay better than ADCC. The one thing though that I do wonder about, because I've been looking for it online and haven't seen it, is the rule set for Craig Jones' event. It'd be really great if they didn't have points, if it just was like a sub only type thing, but who knows how it will be. I mean, if it's just a direct copy of ADCC, then yeah, you'll probably see the point system. And I guess it'd be fine. It's like ADCC is interesting enough to watch. But one thing about the ADCC point system that I guess like what the point system has created over the years is actually a like a shift in the consciousness of jiu-jitsu towards wrestling, or towards understanding and appreciating the effectiveness and the value of wrestling in your grappling. All right. So with ADCC, we were having a lot of people are calling ADCC like a wrestling tournament. It's definitely not. It's, in my opinion, it's definitely not. But it doing stuff like going to referee's position um, is is useful in ADCC, right? And you can set up your counters. You can prevent like yourself from losing points on takedowns and stuff like that. So in that way, I think the ADCC rule set has been beneficial for grappling, because then you won't have people just like pulling guard and staying underneath and all that. And maybe that's why people think ADCC rules or matches are maybe more exciting than a lot of other federations. But with that being said, then if Craig Jones's event does not have a point system, then you might see people just rolling onto their backs, and if they don't get penalized for doing so, then they might just fall onto their kind of like the ways they're used to, like rolling and stuff. So who knows? So hopefully, in a way, it's like they still keep that more wrestling oriented grappling in Craig Jones's event, and then I think in that way it'll remain exciting. Other thing though is YouTube. So Craig Jones announced that the event will be live streamed on YouTube for free. This is another thing that I've been talking about, where it's like you like legitimate sports are free to watch, right? So like soccer, everyone's going to be able to see the World Cup final. If you can't see the World Cup final for free, I'm sure there'd be like some worldwide soccer riot. So kind of same thing with like in the United States with the Super Bowl. I mean, like our country shuts down so everyone can watch a football game. If you couldn't watch that for free, yeah, we'd probably burn down the country or whatever. It's like so important for people to be able to see these things. And then if you put it on pay-per-view, I don't think that'll go over well at all. But I think over the years, we kind of accepted some things like boxing to be on pay-per-view. So in a way, it's like you'll see like how fighting sports have been mired in like corruption scandals, like betting and all these different things. So in a way, it's almost like these things stay on pay-per-view because they're mired in corruption and whatnot. So a lot of times it does seem where it's like if you have like say like baseball and all these other things, even though baseball's had its scandals and all that, um, like it still kind of gives the illusion of being more fair and whatnot. So, yeah, legitimate sports are free to watch, right? So, um, that's why I do like what Craig Jones is doing. If he does keep it on YouTube for free, that is fantastic. That's something that I would definitely support, and um, so that's why like all our matches and stuff are free for you on our YouTube channel, Catch Wrestling Alliance. Every match we've done, or at least most of them, there's some video footage that's been like corrupted, and so then we weren't able to put absolutely every match, but like probably 99% of all matches are on our YouTube channel. So yeah, it'd be barring some technical thing, because that has happened. I think that happens to like everyone when you're trying to film stuff. So, but yeah, like all our stuff's free. Any upcoming thing is going to be free on our YouTube channel, no matter what. So, I think that's another really positive thing that Craig Jones is doing. So hopefully that doesn't change between now and the event. But the other thing though too, the one thing about say like ADCC, it's like it's becoming so popular and I mean it's prestigious, but it's popular now, so that they're having so many like open tournaments like all around the country, all around the world. And so you have to pay to compete in them, and so then the organization is making enough money to pay the world championship winners more, right? So they should probably be paying people who actually qualify when they show up. They should be paid well to just show up, and then for the world finals and whatnot. So I do believe that Craig Jones is on the right side of the argument when I guess he's tried to get them to pay more and whatnot. So so yeah, they definitely can pay, because ADCC has become so popular, and like a lot of the tournaments, especially like here in LA, there's so many people who sign up to compete. And I have seen like some other more remote cities, and not as big cities, not have as many competitors, but still it's like they still have a lot of people for their size. And so ADCC is like taking in a lot of money just based off of the registrations and stuff. So it should be like offered to the winners, right, or for people who show up. All right. So the other thing now, so besides that event, we can kind of move on to this other thing that came out recently. And I know it's been kind of, I guess those of you who buy all the instructionals and stuff, I guess Craig Jones has put out some instructionals that are a little bit more wrestling oriented, but on YouTube for free. A school in a school in Thailand, um, I guess paid Craig to do some seminar there, and the title of the event, or the title of the video, was like the art of pinning. So I think we are seeing this big shift in like the consciousness of grappling being towards like a lot of the wrestling stuff. Doesn't mean that it's completely that way. So like you'll have some people say like, I think if you're online, you probably have seen the 10th Planet competitor, Boogeyman, or Richie Martinez. He's been able to win like he won the IBJJF Worlds, like Nogi Worlds, just like using rubber guard. So I think I want to make a video about that, how he gets into that, and how to use wrestling to not get trapped in rubber guard. Because yeah, if you go up against someone who's like, so if you go up against someone who's like Richie Martinez, or even Ben Eddy or whatever, so if you're going up against people like that who have developed that rubber guard game, then yeah, you might be one of their highlight submission. You might be on their highlight submission reel, but there's like a mistake that kind of happens that you kind of will get yourself into that position. So I think what we'll probably be doing is starting a series, or at least making one video about like trying to keep yourself out of rubber guard. And um, so from like a wrestling point of view, so I think we'll go ahead and maybe try to make that video this week or next week. We do have another turtle video coming up, so that will. So speaking of like the Craig Jones thing, if you look it up on YouTube, it's a recent one where he's in Thailand giving a seminar about the art of pinning. And yeah, a lot of it is about like showing like the benefits of rolling to turtle, or like say in wrestling, we call it like referee's position. It is more dynamic. And he kind of talks about it where it's like, yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the more uh, dynamic positions because you can do a lot more things, or you can even like escape. You can stand up, get out, start reset. In catch wrestling, you don't necessarily want to be standing up. Like you don't want, like if you're down, you want to try to say like reverse the position so you can get on top. That's the mindset you want to have in catch wrestling. You're not necessarily going to want to like stand up and become neutral again, because then yeah, you've like now you have to get back in there and try to get back down onto the mat to do the mat wrestling. So standing up isn't necessarily the thing you want to be aiming for from referee's position or turtle. So that's kind of some of the differences. But I mean, say like if they always talk about like, oh, if in a self-defense situation or whatever, then you can stand up. Yeah, sure, totally fine, totally fine. So actually in one match in England that I had, I ended up standing up just because the other guy was like way bigger than me, and so I was underneath, and he wasn't really giving me ways to counter. So then I just stood up and kind of started again. But again, that was just the strategy I used at that for that match. But if you can find ways to keep it down, like keep it on the mat, then you're definitely going to want to use that strategy, like use your counters and stuff. But in my situation at that one time, I felt like my opponent was maybe like too strong, or at least much bigger and all that. So a counter didn't seem like it was going to work. So I was able to stand up. Um, so that's what I did. So yeah, so then that goes back to one of the points that Jones was making in that video, that instructional video, like just how valuable and how dynamic the turtle or referee's position can be. And I think people have kind of been like kind of saying it more and more, which is ultimately very good for like grappling. It'll improve your grappling as well. But say like from my perspective, like the catch wrestling is still like superior in that it's already baked in. Like you don't have to like discover something new, or change your mindset or whatever. So in that way, I think catch wrestling will still have the advantage, but you gotta have people training and people just improving and stuff, so that you can see people who come from a legit catch wrestling background doing well in competitions. Um, so I guess with that being said, I think Craig Jones is doing a lot of good things to kind of shift the mindset of a lot of people in grappling. And he's not only competing, but trying to make his own event, right? So, and he was saying something about like trying to leave his legacy now. So I think the event with better pay and being free on YouTube is something that is like a step in the right direction. And so I think with that, it will really shift the mindset of a lot of people. And since he's already having people like people who qualified for the ADCC finals jump over to his event, yeah, I think it's going to force people to rethink the way especially if they're bringing in a lot of money, and if they're not they're not kind of putting it back out for events and for pay and all that, then it's gonna raise a lot of questions about like how greedy some of these promoters are. All right, so feel free to ask any questions or whatever. Then we have some other podcasts we want to go over, or at least a lot of other subjects that we want to kind of talk about. But I just wanted to get this one out first because all the stuff is kind of happening with the Craig Jones Invitational. So I wanted to put out my 2 cents based off the very little information that we have now. But hopefully we get the questions answered about the rules and all that. I'm kind of assuming it'll probably just be similar to the like ADCC rules, but it'd be really cool if it was like no points, right? So submission only and maybe a longer time limit or whatever, but we'll see. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just end it there. So thanks for watching. Feel free to train with us at UCLA or Fight Science MMA or on our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. You can train with our buddy, John Strickland on the East Coast, American Hook Wrestling. You can always, if you have something to teach, you can use our sponsor, kajabi.com. We have 30-day free trial in the description box, or you can also join our channel. That should be on our YouTube channel. You'll see that we got a bunch of extra videos for you. Just become a channel member and you can have access to all that. You feel free to ask questions. We try to make a video specifically for members. Like if you have any questions about like situations you're struggling with, we'll make a video for you specifically from a catch wrestling perspective. So you feel free to join that if you don't want to necessarily train, or if you just want to support us. You can join our YouTube channel, Catch Wrestling Alliance. All right, so our goal is to help you elevate your grappling so that together we keep real wrestling alive. See you next time.